This is the Criterion Creeps podcast, and tonight we're talking about the rules of the game from 1939, directed by Jean Renoir. The synopsis, RJ, from Letterboxd. A weekend at a Marquise country chateau lays bare some ugly truths about a group of hot bourgeois acquaintances.
Oh, wow. Really? Tell me more, Jarrett.
Nope, that's it. That's all they give us.
That's all?
That is it. Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Well, you tell me. Okay, let's pull up the Criterion Collection back of the box. Let's take a look at what that says.
Do you have that available to you?
I actually own this on Blu-ray, RJ.
Wow, nerd.
No. Let us read. Considered one of the greatest films ever made. The rules of the game, Le Règle du Jeu, by Jean Renoir, is a scathing critique of corrupt French society cloaked in a comedy of manners in which a weekend at a Marquise country chateau lays bare some ugly truths about a group of hot bourgeois acquaintances.
What do they mean, hot? Like hot-headed?
Hot? French word for hot.
Like, are you saying hot? Like H-O-T?
H-A-U-T.
Oh, like hot.
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 On hot. Elevated, grand, important? I don't know.
Sure. I speak French. We all do, right?
High elevated peoples, I guess.
The
film has had a tumultuous history. It was subjected to cuts after the violent response of the premiere audience in 1939, and the original negative was destroyed during World War II. It wasn't reconstructed until 1959. That version, which has stunned viewers for decades, is presented here.
What do they mean by stunned? Is that French too?
They mean that in the classical sense.
In the literal English sense?
Yes.
Interesting.
Stunned.
Interesting.
So, rules of the game. I have seen this movie once before, and it was 7 years ago now, I guess. It was 2013.
Sure.
And upon that first viewing, I only knew this movie from its reputation of being regarded as one of the greatest films ever made, often second only to Citizen Kane.
Only second? Why not just call him on par?
Maybe some people do. This movie's much beloved. And I remember watching it and kind of being like, huh, that's it, huh? That's all. That's what this is. And I'm like, this comedy of manners, people are really losing their shit over. Okay. I don't think I really ever need to see this movie again, but I've got it now. So what can I do about it? And this was like 4 years before doing a podcast where it's like, shit, I'm going to have to watch this movie again sometime.
Did, before you had, so wait, you watched it once, didn't think much of it, and then you bought it?
No, I had it. I bought it blind.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. So I didn't know. I just assumed that this would deliver.
Well, when it's second only to Citizen Kane, Jared, I mean...
Right? Well, so I remember when this came out on DVD, and it has this, like, really shitty old DVD cover. It's, like, blue squares and, like, photos of people. It's not a good cover at all. I wouldn't want anything with it. And then it got repackaged with its new kind of cartoony illustration cover that is a lot better. And it more speaks to, like, this kind of comedy of manners thing that I talked about earlier. Anyway, so I don't know. I was kind of walking into this thinking, well, you know what? I gave this 3 stars back in the day, thinking
pretty hot praise from you.
It's fine, but it's inoffensively fine, and there's nothing really here that I'm going to get a lot out of. This is the type of movie that I'm not crazy about, really. It's got to have like a pretty amazing screenplay for me to like really get into it. And I don't know, there's something about the writing of this. Like, I've seen some people think this is brilliant. Like, they think the screenplay is incredible, and I don't know. I don't get that at all.
Which people?
The people on the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, on Letterboxd, and professional film critics who get paid, RJ, unlike us, who get paid to do this for a living. They love this movie. So take whatever I'm about to say with a grain of salt. So upon rewatching this movie, I was watching it and admiring the cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that deep focus. We've talked about that deep focus cinematography before.
Oh, sure.
Remember in High Low?
Of course. How could I forget?
It looks really great there. In this,
of course.
I don't know. It's fine. I mean, that we talked about Citizen Kane. We're all on board that Citizen Kane train. Mm-hmm. But yeah, rules of the game. So I was admiring like the camera movement, whole opening scene. So let's actually talk about maybe first what this movie's actually about, unlike these this pithy little summary. So there's this aviator named Andre. Mm-hmm. He flies from America all the way to this airfield near Paris. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, holy shit, no one's done this since Lindbergh. This is an incredible feat in so many days. And he arrives. And it's really great. It's like actually a really well done shot where all the camera's kind of roving through this crowd in a dark scene on a probably, like, I don't even know if they were doing it on location. And it's very hectic. And you're kind of like, oh, this is like kind of awkwardly shot, but in a intentional way where the camera's behind people and like it's ground level, and you're like, oh, this is like, it feels like you're actually there. Guy lands, everyone's celebrating him. He asks, where's was it Christine? Where's Christine? I want to tell her I did it for her. And it's like, oh, she's not even here. And then he's real bummed out. And then the news people show up asking for a quote about his trip. And he's like, oh, she like this. I did it for this woman, and she never even came. And it's like, what a doofus.
What do you think? How do you think that would play out now if, say, you did a Lindbergh style event, and you were like, I just really wanted Jennifer Gardner to be here. Or wait, that's her name, right?
What?
What was Ben Affleck's wife's name?
Garner?
Garner? Yeah, Jennifer Garner.
Okay.
I do a movie podcast. What if you were like, hey, I just want Amy Adams to be here, and then when she wasn't there, you were just like, fuck that bitch.
I start telling
the world. Then you got real mad.
Airing out my dirty laundry, not just keep it in. Yeah, that's not my style. So we cut to the radio broadcast carrying this message of him whining, and you get to meet, I guess, this Christine woman in this like palatial mansion where she's married to another man, her husband, and she's having these conversations with her maid Lisette. And you're just kind of introduced to these people, and you're kind of like, huh, who am I rooting for here? Who? What's going on?
Who were you rooting for?
Well, we'll get to that. So we have so Andre meets up with his buddy Octave, who's actually played by old Jean Renoir himself. And I mean, he's probably the most robust character in this film.
100%.
He's like kind of the odd man out. He's a Jew in this setting, and we get some conversations about Jewish people later on. Keep in mind that this is 1939, right as the Germans are going to roll out and occupy France, and leading to this movie getting repressed and taken away. So he's like, well, we got to go to the party. Like they're going to it's going to be a make good. You really made an ass of yourself, you clown, doing this thing. And so it's all about getting everybody under one roof at the big chateau over at what is it? What's the name of her husband? The rich man, Chesnay, Mark
Swiss Chalet,
Christine, or his name. Yeah, what? Wait, what's going on here? Yeah, oh fuck these names. Robert is
I'll
Marquis.
Up the page here.
I got it. There's a big cast here. There's a dozen people.
Cast.
Yeah. So anyway, we're introduced to Robert, who's like, telling his wife Christine sweet nothings, but then he's like going off to say, hey, Genevieve, his mistress, I'll see you tomorrow, because they're all lying scumbags. We're introduced to Schumacher, who's married to Lisette. He's the gamekeeper of the estate. He doesn't like a poacher, and this who's like kind of a scamp. He always has a good line to get himself in there and around there. Anyway, this to me is like, this exact same story told in a movie now would leave me just as kind of like underwhelmed because I don't care about this story, and honestly there's not a lot in the telling of it that like wins me over. Like obviously there's like some pretty innovative filmmaking going on. In fact, like, there's times where the movie feels like way ahead of its time. Just like the when you think about what movies were like when we've seen movies, like we've seen some of those like early Hitchcock movies, and Hitchcock seems to be struggling to keep that camera moving the way he wants. We're all blown away when that camera zooms in on the guy who's disguised in blackface as the drummer, and we're like raving about that. But then here, this camera's always in motion and has a very more of a, some might say, lyrical quality in how it's moving around, and it's telling the story very effortlessly. It's not fancy. It's not bringing attention to itself, because pretty well like all movies kind of work this way now, but maybe because we're thinking about like these giant lumbering black and white cameras, it's just that much more impressive. And you're also seeing this movie that on a technical level is like really well made, but the story just like leaves me so cold. And upon rewatching this movie, I'm kind of like, I think I like this movie less somehow. Like, I don't know, it's really strange. And like I couldn't help but think about maybe this movie is My Man Godfrey for me. Whereas,
so you actively dislike it?
I don't know if I actively dislike it. I just like almost this week felt resentful of having to watch this movie that I just wasn't that into. And but whereas My Man Godfrey, like I think that movie's like really good. I think the writing in that's great. It's actually funny. Whereas, and this is also a great comedy, but it's
it is.
But it's I don't know. I sure was not laughing at all. So we have the big to do, the gala, and you find out everybody's banging somebody. There's people slipping behind everybody's back. Everybody's trying to sleep with somebody, and of course one thing leads to another, and one guy's wearing somebody's jacket that he shouldn't be wearing at the right time, and someone gets shot. And it's kind of like, oh well, that's that.
And then they dust their hands of it, and they say, oh well,
aren't we callous rich people?
Well, I mean, they're really sticking it to the lower class, Jarrett.
Kind of.
Well, I mean, in the callousness, they're like, I have things to say. You continue.
So, yeah, that's kind of the payoff. Andre the Aviator, for all his troubles. Spoilers. He gets mistaken for Octave, I guess.
Octave.
And because Schumacher thinks that Octave's running off with his Lisette, because that's who Octave. That's why he wanted to come up here. He wants a little bit of that. Everybody wants a little bit of everybody in this, and
yes,
and then she's shot dead. And then there's like kind of a like cavalcade of action, sort of. And then it's like, well, the police show up, and it's like, oh, well, that's what it is. Everybody back in, and it kind of just ends. And like, I don't know. It's just like, is this a powerful thing? I'm an idiot. I just don't know. It just leaves me completely bored of like, I don't know. It's just not interesting to me. I'm trying to think of positives. There's some fist fighting going on several times that are like a mix of 1939 fight choreography, and sometimes it's like, yeah, I guess that's how people who wouldn't know how to fight at all would fight. It brings up one of my favorite things of the absurdity of duels. The idea of like, you slap a man and he goes, I challenge you to duel. The guy's like, nah, I don't want to do that. What? Well, everyone will know. He's like, yeah, I don't care. And then he just proceeds to beat the shit out of the guy anyway. It's like, yeah, that's pretty real. That's how that would actually go down.
It's a lot more realistic. Yep. I think some other positives that you mentioned earlier, there's certain technical aspects that are pretty good. The one scene I liked a lot actually was not when they have their weird Midsommar style grizzly bear play scene.
Yes.
But when it cuts from that play to the crowd, and it's like the girl in the doorway and the spotlights kind of like moving around her. I thought that was really neat. I was like, I like that. That's a nice little scene. So that was like, for me, I was like, that's the best scene in the film right here. is just this little thing going on here. But then I was also distracted. I was like, what's going on with this Ari Aster ass bear suit? What is this? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, everyone's got a bear suit.
Well, who doesn't nowadays?
Yeah, now. But 1939.
Yeah. So tell me what else you thought there, Jared.
Oh, boy. Let's take a look here. There's some... Okay, so this could be mean, but like...
Sure.
So Christine, the lady love that everybody's like in love with.
Mm-hmm.
Is she so special?
I don't think any of them are special.
Is she so great? I don't know. In this, she's just kind of like, I'm like, really? Her?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, other than, I guess she's rich, and like we're told that like she's this big deal, but man, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't see it at all. Like there's just no one I'm rooting for.
I kind of had the same thing with like Octave, played by our boy himself, because I was like, I can't remember what movie it was, but it was a movie not too long ago that the director played himself, and he was like, women were like lusting after him all the time.
And it's not a Woody Allen movie.
Was it? No, it wasn't a Woody Allen movie, but it was a similar kind of idea. I was like, this motherfucker is just gonna cast himself as this like desirable heartthrob, and so I felt the same with like Octave, because he's sleeping around with like everyone, and then Christine, she's like almost on board to leave with him. So I was like, so the girl everyone's going after is gonna go after this guy, and then like I can talk about it more when I talk to, but I watched some of the supplements, Jared.
Ooh.
And they talk about how Octave is supposed to be a self-deprecating like guy who's like hard on himself, and I was like, I didn't really get that at all. I was like, did I miss that? Or
yeah,
he's not like shitting on himself at all. He seemed like a pompous guy. They all do, kind of.
Yeah.
Nobody like pokes fun at themselves.
I'm trying to figure out this movie that you were talking about.
Can
like Schizopolis with Steven Soderbergh.
No. I have my book here. I can like flip through and try to find what exactly it was.
I'm trying to think of movies that were the directors actually front and center
in the movie. It could have not been a Creep. Maybe it was a Woody Allen movie. But I feel like we talked, or maybe it was like one of the remakes.
It was definitely Dog Star Man.
Well, I think that one was earned, though. He had his balls like right on display for everyone, and it was like, yeah. Oh, you know what it was? It wasn't the director himself. But okay, so remember our boy Antoine?
That's
from 400 Blows.
Yes.
And how he's like, the character is Truffaut, and then everyone. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I did see that, but I went, Truffaut's not in that, and then I kept going, because that was like the next one that it could possibly be.
I think it was it. Let's just leave it at that.
Perfect.
But do you want me to rattle on for a little bit, or?
Absolutely, go right on ahead.
Okay, so I don't know where these people went out to lunch on this greatest movie ever made, but I was watching this and I was like, okay, and then I just did I started watching, like I said, some of the supplements, and all I watched was I think it was like a couple people being interviewed, and they were talking about like this greatest movie ever made, and I was like, what? And so I actually looked in, like I went to like Wikipedia, I did some research for once. I was like, what are they talking about? And then I saw all these people talking about it, and I was like, get bent, man. I was like, what are these guys fucking talking about? I was like,
because this movie's like not even as good as Grand Illusion, right?
No, not at all. Grand Illusion's a lot better than this thing. So I was like, I don't know what that's about. I feel like this falls in that category of movies that shouldn't exist because of the history of like the film getting like blown up or whatever in the war. And I was like, okay, maybe that's why this is here, but I don't really see why it gets all this acclaim in the sense that it does, because I'm very much the same as you, where these films that like depict the upper crust, it's like I don't sympathize with any of these people. Like I don't feel bad for you. And like I saw a thing about like how they were saying like or it was him himself. He was saying, he's like, yeah, I did this as like a satire about the people, and they were all mad. He's like, but I went easy on them. I could have went harder. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I didn't feel like this like criticized them at all, because they're talking about is like, well, they're callous and cold and shut off because like war is coming, and they don't care because it's just they're playing their little games. And it's like, what should they be doing? Like crying? I don't know. That like maybe that is a normal response, but it's like they're fancy rich people. They probably don't have to go to war anyways. They'll probably be fine. So it's like, what's the problem, bub? So yeah, my major issues were with the story itself too. Like I think all the stuff about the movie, like the technical aspects, it's all fine. It's like I said, I like that lighting thing. That was cool. But the story itself, I find like a little bit like it seems like a little bit much for me. Like there's too many moving parts in this.
This is a hell of a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I feel like robust, I feel like a lot of people. I mean, because I trying to like find things to like comment upon. I went back to reading Roger Ebert's like great movies article on this thing, because he talks about how many times he's seen it, and like how when he watched it on DVD finally, it was like the best it ever had looked, because before that it was like always like these like underlit grainy VHS tapes, and even like the Criterion Laserdisc from years and years ago wasn't up to snuff. And he's taught it and watched it, and he's like, it wasn't until this time that I really got it. It's like, what?
It's horseshit.
What? Well, I don't know. I guess like once you have like a connection to the movie, it makes more sense. But I'd be curious if new viewers are like falling under its sway, or if it's just going to be one of those movies. It's like, oh yeah, it's like another. Because to me, it's just like, it feels like, yeah, if this movie was just presented as like another piece of like Renoir's filmography, of which now we've watched two of his movies, and there's more to come. But it's kind of like, oh, this movie just like. It's no different than like other movies that we've seen. Even on this in the Creeps so far. Let me try to point to what those are. But yeah, my Man Godfrey obviously comes to mind.
Yeah.
I mean, a very different movie from it is The Ruling Class from 1972, which is British and a very different movie. But like, I think that movie is like so much more interesting. But obviously, it's got the advantage of being more contemporary, and also I love my 70s cinema, so there's that. I mean, I'm not above like liking movies from the 30s or 40s, but
I don't think it's anything like that either. So I was gonna say one thing I just noticed that
actually this reminds like Trouble in Paradise is kind of like similar type of thing, but I think that movie also has like a more of a charm to it too, because it is like, again, it's like that American screwball sensibility that I would be more sympathetic to, I guess. Like the characters would be scumbags, but lovable scumbags, where in this they're just kind of like, I don't know if the movie really cares if you like these people or not. And it's like, well, that's the scathing part, but you're like, yeah, but I don't want to spend 2 hours watching them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you don't feel, I don't know, I don't feel anything for any of these people. You're like, why do I care about any of them? Even like the Help, the groundskeeper and stuff. You're just like, this guy is like weirdly aggressive dude too. He just kills a guy outright, and then they're like, oh well. And you're like, I don't feel bad for him either. Maybe he should have treated his wife a little better. And then she wouldn't have wanted to leave, you know? You know what I mean, Jer?
Man, I got to be doing a better job on my letterbox tags, keeping track of the upper crust.
Upper crust? And you got to put the gallery of cocks in this one, too. Is that what you called it? Or just cuckolding in general?
Yeah, we're in the world of cucks.
Uh-huh. Well, okay, so there's a lot of that going on. That's what I mean. Like, there's so many moving parts in this thing. One thing, to its credit and to its, like, it's good and bad. The too many things going on, I think, is bad. But there's a few scenes where it's like maybe the long hallways and the characters moving around. Like two people will enter from like a door and they'll start talking, and then one will leave, and then someone will come from the other end of the hallway, and then it'll follow them.
This almost sounds like a Robert Altman movie.
It almost is, Jarrett. It almost is. But like, that's actually, when they do those scenes, I actually kind of like those, because it's like characters coming into space and then leaving space. Right. It's like a continuous shot almost.
And here's the thing, right? Like, because I mean, in 1939, that's unheard of. That's not how you do things. Like, it's usually everything is contained in the frame, and this idea that like action's happening on the outside and people are coming back and forth. And that's like the thing I was talking about with deep focus, where there's people in the foreground that are having the conversation that we're focusing on, but in the background, everybody's still on. The characters are like doing their thing. They have their own acts and agency. But again, like it's all well and good. I get that, but you gotta give me something to hang my hat
Something
on.
more. Yeah, and that's kind of all I was saying too. Like I do really like the lighting scenes, and then I do think those scenes are cool where it's people kind of coming and going. But then I think so many characters is a detriment to it too. Like not even that it's. I never had a hard time keeping up with all the characters that are presented. I was kind of. But like the naming was an issue, but I don't even look at names. I just look at their faces and it's like, okay, I know who this person is now. But like, it just gets too much to keep track of sometimes. And you're just like, fuck, just move on with it. Just get. And then here's my one big criticism, Jarrett. Are you ready for this?
Hit me.
Can you imagine what it's going to be? So the much talked about hunt scene, hunt.
Oh yeah.
So here's where my issue comes with, Jarrett. It's like, yeah, I realize that this is a part of societal life that happened and a necessity for a lot of people. And you got the beaters beating out the rabbits and all the ducks. And what you're given is about like a 3-minute video of just animals being shot, like rabbits and like birds and stuff. And you're like, okay. And then when I was watching these interviews, these fucking people are talking about like how it's like a criticism of war and like the mindless killing. And I was like, hold on, because they were saying that like Renoir himself, he's like a devout vegetarian, and he was like, I find this senseless. It's like, but you know what, let's kill like 40 animals just for this movie anyways. So I found it like ironically hypocritical, because they're like, we're going to make a comment about the senseless killing of people in war by having this huge hunting scene and killing a bunch of animals. That'd be like if I wanted to make a statement about like animal welfare and I went to a battered woman's home and I just started wrecking the place. Just made a real fit, Jarrett. I feel like that's almost the same thing. I feel like it's misplaced. You understand? I feel like they misplaced it, Jarrett.
Like they found it and they're like, hey, let's what else am I going to do with this stuff?
Yeah, and they're like, and it's like, that's the irony of it. It's like, what you're saying that you don't like, you're kind of doing, my man. Do you not understand? You're taking aggression from one area and throwing it somewhere else. I don't know. That's just what I thought. I was like, that's silly. So anyways, I didn't get much out of this movie either, Jarrett. And it's, I don't know. I had a hard time like being interested in any of these people right from the start, where it's like, you're the Lindbergh baby. And then all I could think about was, I was like, the Lindbergh baby. Or no, I know. So like, okay, right from the start, I was like, I don't care about this pilot. But when you said the Lindbergh thing, I was like, why isn't there a Lindbergh baby movie? I'd be way more interested in that. Grandpa Simpson knows, right? There's no Lindbergh baby movie, is there?
Are you sure?
I don't think so. If there is, I haven't seen it.
Well, there's a TV movie from 1976, The Lindbergh Kidnapping Case.
Because as I understand
nope, not that one.
Well, because the guy that they convicted and executed for the Lindbergh baby killing, he always said he was innocent. Maybe it was a Kolchak situation, Jarrett. Maybe there was a monster that kidnapped that baby. Do you know what I mean?
Go on.
Maybe it was Kolchak.
Do you know who is the star of the Lindbergh kidnapping case? Like
the actual case, or
the movie?
The star of it?
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, Bruno Hopman himself.
Anthony Bruno. Okay, I might check this out now.
It's probably on. It's probably on YouTube.
I might check it out.
So RJ, I know you all. Speaking of the Altman.
Oh yeah.
You actually went and watched Gosford Park for the very first time, which is also a movie I saw in theater.
Oh, fancy boy!
Back when it was in the conversation for Best Picture.
See, this was when you were watching Gosford Park in theaters, I was watching Spy Kid, getting my shorts blown off. Spy Kids. So we had different taste 19 years ago.
Back in 2001.
So yeah, I watched Gosford Park because as far as my research, which was watching one of the supplements or one or two and then cruising that Wikipedia page, it said that Gosford Park is pretty much the closest that you'll have to like, not, I wouldn't say a remake, but a spiritual sequel, Jarrett. Spiritual sequel, because Robert Altman and his buddy Julian Fellows, they wrote this thing together. So it's kind of like if you had the rules of the game and you have all the same setup. You have the rich people, they go on a hunt, but then you have one of them get murdered, and then you have more focus on the help, on the working people.
So funny thing. So Julian Fellows, I don't know if you realize, he's also the creator, writer, and executive producer of Downton Abbey.
Well, obviously, that makes sense.
Yeah. So these fucking people who fetishize this upstairs, downstairs thing, I don't know.
You want to hear something funny? You know how the credits play out?
Yeah.
The upstairs, and then it plays, and then the downstairs, and then it plays.
Yeah, it's a whole genre in itself.
It's a whole genre. Yeah, this one definitely, like, it focuses a lot more on the help instead of the other ones. But like watching it, I was like, I get it. Like, I think that this is 60% rules of the game, if not 70. And then like the only added stuff is that it's like a guy like what's his name? Dumbledore dies. He gets murdered. That's the only real difference. So I didn't actually get much out of this either. Like, it didn't even have that like pithy, like fast dialogue that I thought it would. Like, it has some, but our boy Charles Dance doesn't even come into a room shouting, "What are you doing now?" It never even happens.
What about our boy Withnell?
Withnell, he was actually probably one of the best parts, and he's not in it very much.
No, he's just always kind of aloof in the frame, coming in and out, and you're like, oh, what's he doing now?
He was just there. Your buddy Ryan Phillippe, he's doing his best accent. It's not bad. And then Bob Balaban is there talking about Charlie Chan movies.
Well, he co-produced the movie
so much, and I was kind of like, dude, get off of this Charlie Chan stuff. Get.
It's an all-star cast.
It does, yeah, but I didn't really care for it. Like, it's fine. I don't think it's bad or anything like that.
I didn't give a shit about this movie when it came out, and I guess it kind of makes sense that I don't know, this type of movie, this tale just does not work for me.
I will say though, like, all things considered,
don't get me wrong, I'm all about. I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, I do believe there's like a Robert Altman quote saying that he learned the rules of the game from the rules of the game, as far as film craft goes. So it makes sense that he made his own homage to it. And there's like the Altman dialogue sort of thing works. It's been like almost 20 years since I've seen this movie, but just to be clear, like I like my class action in my movies. I like some warring between the factions, and the rich need to be taken down. But I don't know, these movies aren't my cup of tea, I guess, as far as like how to do that. These seem like pretty blasé and like kind of, I don't know, to me, but I could be wrong. Perhaps in 1939 this upset things a little bit more.
Maybe. I don't know. In my book, Rules of the Game and Gosford Park, I think are a little overrated.
Does Gosford Park get rated these days?
I wouldn't say recently, but it seems like it's held in pretty high acclaim. Or was, at least.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe it's people with that nostalgic flair. And it's like I said, it's fine. I just I was watching it. I was like, I don't really care. Don't really care about this. Put Helen Mirren on screen some more.
Damn right.
Damn right. Let me see what's going on there, guys. Yeah. So anyways, rules of the game, Helen Mirren, Gosford Park. What are you going to do?
You want to hear about who Well, I mean, you want to hear who hates Rules of the Game?
I would, because I feel like the people who love Rules of the Game, I feel like they're already going to comment on this review about how wrong we are.
Oh, so, of course they will.
I don't think we even need to talk about that.
Don't worry, guys. We're
aware.
We're aware. And we don't care.
No, we don't care.
Because at the end of the day, it's just like our opinions, man.
It's just our opinions, man. And this is a free podcast that we do for fun. And look, we're like 400 spines in. So.
Okay, so let's do some hate first.
Sure.
Okay, half a star from Dr. King.
The Dr. King?
The one and only.
Oh, wow.
So, I had never heard about this movie before watching it yesterday, and most likely will forget about it by the end of tomorrow. Casual racism and misogyny aside.
Oh, wow. Aside from what?
This movie has some...
Are they saying that that's okay?
No, a casual racism and misogyny aside, this movie has some funny moments that helped me get through it, but this was still a rough one. From the first minutes, I knew this wasn't going to be for me. Subjectively speaking, I don't see much merit in watching films like these. That isn't to say it doesn't have any appreciative audiences. Several of my classmates seem to really enjoy it. I am simply not the target audience. Just because a movie is extremely outdated, that shouldn't necessarily detract from its historical and cinematic relevance. Nonetheless, it's hard watching something like this that seems so far out of touch with modern cinema that it almost shouldn't categorize similarly. Overall, I'm excited to forget this film.
See, we've said before, I don't really agree with that. These people that are like, it's out of touch with modern cinema. I don't think that's the point. You and me can watch movies that are 80 years old and still get something from it.
Yeah.
I think this is a film student account because it was literally just created. They only have 2 reviews, and this one of Rules of the Game came not even a month ago. So they only have 2 half-star films, The Rules of the Game and Venom.
Wow. And well, they're really good film students, giving movies half stars already out of the gate.
And out of the gate, but you know what some of their most favorite movies are, Jarrett? Baby Driver, Endgame, Infinity War, Knives Out.
Holy shit.
So what are you going to do?
I guess I should pretend I like this movie a lot so I don't associate with this person. I'm not giving this no half star. That's just stupidity, but...
Just don't give any stars.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Next up, Billy Systems Dead.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Half a star. A bunch of toffs on a weekend break shoot a few rabbits and pheasants. Then everyone seems to be in love with the host's wife, who is an absolute minger. Dreadful film, often cited as one of the greatest movies ever.
A minger? That's pretty funny. I think you would be on board with this person quite a bit, Jarrett. They have a really similar taste.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so okay, wait, let me see. I was just digging through the garbage a little bit here. Half-star films are just like kind of things you'd expect. Some movies that aren't good. What was it? Extra half-star. I don't know about that. Okay, here's some 5 stars. They don't have many, but it's like Throne of Blood, Day of Wrath, Mir, or Debt. It's not bad, right?
Yes.
It's not bad stuff. Like, what do they say here? No, nothing interesting. Anyways, their tastes ain't bad, man. They have a Takeshi Mike ranked list. That's pretty cool. Do you like Takeshi Mike?
Yeah, he's a good dude. Good dude.
Yeah.
One more hate. 1 star from Ost.
Okay.
With a little rocket ship.
I see it.
I get that this is like a commentary on the French aristocracy. But God, was it boring. Just shut up.
Okay, I think all you have to know about Ost is that their teacher is Timothy Chalamet. Jarrett. That tells you about all there is to know, right? Their favorite films. Favorite films are just Zodiac, Ladybird, Singing in the Rain, and Rear Window. It's weird. Interesting. What's that about? So 1-star films, we have The Rules of the Game, and there's only like 8 other ones. Let me tell you what Ost compares The Rules of the Game to. Fantastic Four from 2005. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Breaking Dawn, Twilight Saga. Breaking Dawn Part 2. Twilight Saga. That's about it, man. That's about it. So,
what movies do you think will be told to be keeping to, then watch this movie? You know, like they'll be like, oh, you should stick to watching Back to the Future. Like, what movie do you think they'll slam us with?
Oh, for this one?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. What was I don't know what's out right now. Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, stick to watching Sonic the Hedgehog, you assholes.
Watch some Sonic movies, and then instead of this prestige format cinema.
You imbeciles.
Imbeciles?
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think a Lindbergh Baby movie would be way more interesting than this thing.
Here's some I'm gonna look at some 5 stars real quick.
Okay.
Wow, this was powerful. I had so much fun watching this. The script is awesome. One of the early masterpieces. Renoir was way ahead of the game. Get it? Mm-hmm. Its genius escaped many viewers at the time, but in retrospect, this film stands as one of Jean Renoir's and cinema's finest works. These are all from like the last month.
Yeah. This is really strange. I'm just like clicking on a lot of these people, and yeah, they're all really recent, and they're all Criterion bros. I mean,
one of the best movies I've seen. Saw it in my theater. For my own theater.
Godard Slut just watched it, and they just gave Veronica Voss 3.5 stars.
There you go. Something about incidental racism again.
Is it incidental if it's on purpose?
Aside from that, and so no one cares about bunnies getting shot, RJ.
See, it's like I said, it's misplaced. So here's what. No, I already gave the example.
Okay, Casper Pens, a masterpiece in every sense. Rapid, acid-like screenplay, extravagant characters, and innovative camera work make this one of cinema's best works ever made. First time viewing this, but hopefully in the years to come, I will revisit this much, much more. Foxy Russian, a perfect film that is still instantly connectable to a modern-day audience. Brilliant satire and a script that is both equal parts hilarious and heartbreaking. The script and camera work are also incredibly advanced for its time. No wonder it's considered one of the best movies of all time. No wonder.
No wonder, man. No wonder. Like, it's hard digging through these people's movies because it's like it's so all over the place. Like, this Foxy Russian just gave they gave Starship Troopers 0.5 star. It's not a 0.5 star film, Jer. I don't care who you ask. I don't care. It's not a 0.5 star.
It's yeah.
And like
deep. Yes, hey, people just want some deep focused cinematography. That's all they need. And then the rest shall follow.
I guess. I mean, all of these people given 5 stars, like, all they watch is Criterion movies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, get over it, man. This person just watched Battle Royale, gave it 3.5. Casper Pans.
Cool.
They stayed all of the friends of the shows of the Criterion Creeps. Oh, interesting. I wonder what that means. Weird. You
got anything left to say?
Not really. I think it's silly. That's it.
That's it.
That's all I think, is that it's silly.
After the break, we're going to go out and hunt rich people.
And then what?
We'll give them as much of a chance as those bastards gave those little bunnies.
See? You're thinking about it.
Not really. I just want to shoot rich people.
Hey, we'll call Blumhouse, because that movie's coming out next month, isn't it?
Oh, shit. Wait for those 1-star reviews to roll in.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Blum's going to be rich.